Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of The Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for coming back. Today is a pretty sad day. We lost an extremely iconic voice actor and actor in general, Kevin Conroy. Kevin died at the age of 66 today, in the year 2022, when, in my opinion, the world still needs the voice of Batman. It's a sad day. I gotta say, when I started thinking about Kevin, I wanted to do a tribute video for him similar to what I did with David Warner, because I realize just how many things, games, films, television, Kevin's voiced that really resonated with me in my childhood and honestly into my adulthood. He will definitely be missed. But today, even though it's a sad day, I do want to celebrate for Kevin what I feel are my top 5 voice acted or acted roles by Kevin Conroy, the ones that had the greatest impact on me and my life, and pop culture that will, I think, absolutely stand the test of time. Kevin will always be known in a lot of ways for a lot of people to be the voice of Batman. So, while thinking about Kevin today, let's look what my favorite offerings of Kevin over his career have been. My number 1, Batman, the animated series. The iconic Bruce Wayne. This is what kickstarted my love for Batman as a kid, 100%. I used to watch these shows on repeat all the time. And in my later life, after a few challenging breakups and a few rough patches in life, I constantly found myself going back to Batman the Animated Series as a way of escape, as a way of turning my brain off and just diving into story. Batman the Animated Series was a way darker and grittier look into an animated world than what we'd seen in so many other cartoons back in the 90s. And of course, Batman the Animated Series, it ran between 1992 and 1995. I was born in 1987, so for me, that was the sweet spot. It's what drove my love of the character of Batman. Naturally, his villain in the show, there were many with the Rogues Gallery, but Mark Hamill also stood out as the Joker. And between Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, their chemistry as Batman and the Joker, I believe, will live on in history. It is unmatched. There is, in my opinion, no other Batman and Joker combination that have hit that sweet spot. Bale and Ledger, for me, are very close. But when I close my eyes and think of the voice of Batman facing off against the Rogues Gallery and the Joker, and now as an adult collector, I've gone back and started collecting figures from Batman the Animated Series. I featured it in the photograph in the screen title of this episode, and will definitely continue to make collection space in my little man cave here, certainly for the rest of my lifetime. Number 2, Batman, Mask of the Phantasm. This film in 1993 was one of the first Batman films I remember ever actually freaking me out a little bit. The Phantasm was scary, and as a kid, you just didn't know what to think of that character. But of course, it's a Batman film, and you know Batman is going to find a way to resolve some of the challenges he's facing in the film. And the love interest component of that film also resonated with me as a kid. I liked seeing that Batman could start off as a young man, make mistakes, fall in love, be heartbroken, and then come out the other end still strong and as Batman. And when he finds this love interest again later on in his life, there's this internal battle inside of him Did he do the right thing? Did he choose being Batman rather than choose being in love? It's a very cool story, and I liked that we got the chance to see in that movie the origins of where the Batmobile comes from. You know, it's the future museum, the museum of the future. It's very cool, and such an iconic film. I've seen that movie hundreds of times, and my good friend Zach from Collecting Weekly recently found a Phantasm figure for me in my collection. Number 3 is split between two: Superman, the animated series, and the Justice League. Now, Superman aired between 1997 to 1999, whereas the Justice League aired somewhere between 2001 and 2004. So it's spread out over quite a bit of time. But of course, as Batman in these series, not only did Batman complement the Superman character, but that voice of Batman brought a level of familiarity to the show that made it comforting. And it brought a weight to Superman that I feel like otherwise might not have been there. Now, was it a different feeling show than the Batman the Animated Series? Yeah, definitely. Superman was a lot lighter in tone. But again, with that level of familiarity and that gravitas, having Batman in the back, knowing that he was in that world, I think was exactly what that show needed, and helped to cement that show and the animated series in history. Number 4 is some of my favorite video games of all time: Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City, and Batman Arkham Knight. Kevin's voice in these games, alongside, again, Mark Hamill as the Joker, was phenomenal. I remember hearing about Arkham Asylum coming from Rocksteady, and at the time, I wished we could have a Batman game that made you actually feel like you're Batman. Like, legitimately. The gadgets, the stealth, the combat, all of it. And up till this point, we'd had some good offerings from Sega when it came to Batman games, and we'd had some other offerings, but nothing that truly made you feel like you were the cape and cowl masked crusader. And Kevin brought, once again, a seriousness, a gravitas, and a familiarity to the character in the video game that made you feel like you were Batman walking through the halls of Arkham Asylum, or you were Batman soaring over Arkham City, sparring with Catwoman, fighting the Rogues Gallery, and then finally in Arkham Knight you get a chance to drive some of the iconic Batmobiles around Gotham City and soar off even taller skyscrapers, and stealth, and the combat was wicked. Easily some of my favorite games of all time. Now, some of these games came out during my university college days. Some of these came out during, in quotes, some of the good old days with my friends, where we'd sit in the living room, we had 2 televisions set up, and we would just spend hours solve Riddler trophy puzzles, and again, soaring through the air of Gotham. I loved these video games. If you've missed out on these games over time, they're a little older now, but I still think that they hold up incredibly well. In fact, Arkham Asylum is still one of my favorite games of all time, alongside Arkham City. Wonderfully done games, and without Kevin Conroy, they would have never been at the same level, in my opinion. That familiarity, the gravitas, and that comfort zone of knowing you're Batman. Number 5 is definitely slightly out of time order, but it would be Batman Beyond. Now, in this, of course, we follow the Terry McGinnis character of Batman in the future. But what we do get to see is old man Bruce Wayne. And Bruce Wayne, again, being quite a bit older now, has to train Terry McGinnis to take up the mantle of the Batman in the future. And I think it's a really cool story. It also shows that even our heroes can get old. But the willingness at first to train Terry is not there. Bruce knows how dangerous the mantle of the Batman can be. But there's no stopping Terry. And so he helps show him the ropes. And Terry goes on to become a really cool Batman on his own terms, and still one of my favorite animated television shows of all time. If you've loved Batman the Animated Series in the past, but you've never given Batman Beyond a chance, I would recommend it. It's a little different. It has a bit of a different feel to it for sure, but I definitely think it's worthy of a watch. And of course, Kevin Conroy as Batman is killer. He's exactly what we needed in that show. The only other opportunity we get a chance to see him being what feels like Old Man Bruce is, of course, in the Batwoman television show, where there was only one episode in 2019 that we got a chance to see him in live action. And I thought that was really cool, because I think that's the last time I actually saw him in a live action role before his passing. But those, I think, are my top 5 offerings that really resonated with me, again, as a kid and as an adult, of Kevin's career. Let's not forget, while to me he will always be the voice of Batman, he was a person too. He's left behind a family that love him, millions of fans that are sad today to see him gone. And the world will definitely be a darker place without him, in not a cool way this time. But I'd love to hear from you guys down below. What are some of your favorite offerings from Kevin Conroy as either Batman or the other 111 film credits he has to his name? Incredibly impressive person, a kind soul from what I've been told at Comic-Cons, and an iconic actor. He will definitely be missed. Kevin, I hope this tribute is received well. You're on my thoughts today, and I plan to watch the shit out of your content later this evening. Thank you for everything you gave us. Today, this is the Ben Thomas Show. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a great evening.